movie reviews.
And for this, we are looking at a new Hulu original movie that came out this weekend, and it is called Run. This movie is starring Sarah Paulson and Kiera Allen in her first movie. And it's written and directed by Aneesh Chaganty, who is the one who directed Searching a couple years ago with John Cho. Very creative movie. I never saw that one, but I was always intrigued by it, and I know a lot of you have that have seen it have said really good things about it. Anyways, so Run focuses on Chloe, a 17-year-old girl who is applying to colleges, getting excited to move out and be on her own. She has a lot of health issues as she is a paraplegic. She has debilitating asthma and rashes and just a whole bunch of health issues. And her mother takes care of her, and her mother is Sarah Paulson. And slowly but surely you start to realize that maybe her mom doesn't have her best interests in mind. And things start to turn a little bit. This movie, it's kind of like a mother-daughter version of Misery, is really what it boils down to. And I loved it. This movie was so much fun. It had so many cool twists and turns that you didn't necessarily see coming, and even if you did see them coming, they were still fascinating to watch it go. I thought Sarah Paulson was great. This is like... I mean, there's a reason why she has spent so much time on American Horror Stories, is she can really pass off that creepy vibe very well. And Kiera Allen, first time out, she is really good. She gives an incredible performance as well. I really enjoyed it. I liked how it was going. I felt like almost it went on. At first, it felt like it's going on a little too long. Like there were a couple spots where I'm like, it could end right here. Oh, no, it's not going to end right here. Oh, it could end right here. But then when you get that final scene, it's like, okay, that's why you didn't end yet, and that was totally worth it. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. A lot of fun. One of the more fascinating fun movies that I've seen in a little while. Let's go to Zach next. Zach, what'd you think?
Yeah, so I was one of the aforementioned really big fans of Aneesh Chaganty's first feature-length film, Searching. It didn't quite make my top list of that year, but I brought it up in a few of our other podcast episodes. So I went into this movie with pretty high anticipation. I don't think it's quite as good as Searching, but I did enjoy quite a bit of it. That's actually a really good way of thinking of it, mother-daughter misery. I sort of thought of it more like... Well, yeah, that I'm not going to top that. That never going to top it. That was a really good comparison. Yeah, so basically, I agree with a lot of what Terry says. I think this movie has a really cool premise that once it kind of gets going is very Hitchcockian. Rear Window, actually, was the movie that I was sort of thinking of. And not just that the character is paralyzed, but also that she suspects this, very, bad things that are going on with the characters kind of around her. And Sarah Paulson, I mean, could you think of a better casting of a mother who actually might be mentally insane and evil? I mean, that's perfect casting right there. I do have to say, though, I do think the movie is a little over the top at times, particularly in the second half. Without getting too much into spoilers, there's a whole backstory that the movie kind of reveals about the Sarah Paulson character that was really unnecessary. I don't think you needed any of the background, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen the movie. That was very kind of silly, melodramatic, and I really kind of took away from the rest of the story. Like the scene where, one of the characters finds this treasure trove of information that explains everything. My goodness, I've seen that in a million movies. Aneesh should have done better than that. I also thought the music was over the top at times, and then there is also a sort of unforgivable moment when a character pulls out a first aid bag, and then there's a secret compartment with a gun. Oh my gosh, give me a break. That was very, very silly. However, I'm giving this movie thumbs up really for 3 reasons. Number one, I'm giving it thumbs up because there is a sequence in this movie where Kiera Allen crawls through a house. And it is a remarkable sequence. I mean, later on this episode, we're going to talk about our favorite scenes from the decade. Already, there's a front runner for my favorite scene of the 2010s, or 2020s, excuse me. It is absolutely incredibly made. And if there's any, just watch that 10-minute sequence. It's amazing. The second reason I'll recommend it is for Kiera Allen. And there's authenticity because she is someone who uses a wheelchair. And I was reading about this movie, and this is the first major movie in 70 years to have a protagonist that actually is an actor who uses a wheelchair, who's in a wheelchair. So I really appreciate that. And then the last thing I'm going to give it thumbs up for is I think this movie has an awesome last scene, and in particular, the last shot is really great. I was prepared to be like, okay, yeah, it's okay, 2.5-star movie. But when that last scene came on, and there's a last image of it, I was like, holy crap, that's a great way to end this movie. So, thumbs up.
Yeah, your drawbacks, I see exactly what you're saying, and I think I kind of agree that you didn't necessarily need that plot twist that it throws in, and why in the world was that reveal box even existing? I mean, that is one thing that's like, okay, that's kind of a head
whenever I
moment.
see something like that in movies, I'm reminded of Colin Farrell in Minority Report in that scene when all the pictures of Tom Cruise's son are on the bed, and he's like, this is what we call in the police business an orgy of evidence. You know how many times I've seen an orgy of evidence? 0. And that's true in real life. You don't have orgies of evidence like that. So I wish the filmmaker could have done something a little bit more creative there. But on the whole, the movie is still enjoyable and a thumbs up.
Right, and it's one of those moments that, but you go along with it because the movie up to that point is so much fun.
Yes.
All right. Todd, are you in agreement? Are we thrice approved?
Not quite.
Oh.
Okay, well, I will say I agree with some of what you guys said. The comparison to Misery, I thought the same thing. It definitely feels like a Stephen King adaptation. And that scene that Zach was talking about where she's crawling through the house, I did love the scene, but I think that scene would have been amazing to experience in a theater because, I don't think it works as well when you're not enraptured in that scene with a giant audience. Well, I mean, she's just crawling around the house. There's this pulsating intensity. It does not work as well on the small screen as it would have on a big screen. But Aneesh Chaganty, I think, is an interesting director because with this and Searching, he's made these really intense, dark thrillers and didn't make them feel lame, but maintained a PG-13 rating, and that's really unique. You don't really see that a whole lot anymore, especially with movies with this dark of subject matter. And I like that he plays a lot with technology. He makes those stories really current and not like ones that could get lost in time and be made in any era. They seem vital and alive coming out at the current time. And I just feel like there's such a small amount of characters and such a limited setting. Not a whole lot really happens. It's not a movie that's really easy to review. And I think a warmer presence than Paulson would have actually been a lot better with this movie, because with Paulson you can kind of see where the movie's going because you can kind of decipher through things. But if it was a Kelly MacDonald or something like that, someone who's more of an innocent presence on the surface, it probably would make the movie a lot more easy to be surprised by the twists and stuff. And it's definitely not shot in the Tri-Cities, but damn, there's a lot of UW stuff to try to trick you to think it's actually in Pasco. I mean, I know Aneesh Chaganty was born in Redmond, but man, that was not the Tri-Cities area at all. Also, I thought the supporting characters were all complete incompetent morons. It makes those scenes away from the house just, less than believable and mildly annoying at best. Like the mailman, what the hell was that character? It was just a terrible scene. But yeah, I think what's interesting about with this and Searching, you get two opposite spectrums of the extent that parents will go to protect their children, and it shows how much perspective matters in dictating whether that is being portrayed as admirable and sympathetic or monstrous and domineering. And it's an interesting first two movies for him to make. And it has sort of the trashiness of a Nicolas Cage movie I reviewed, Inconceivable. This one is more grounded in reality to an extent, but I can't fully recommend it still, because I do have some drawbacks. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. It really was almost tipping toward 3, but there were too many things that were just pulling it back.
Man, I thought we were going to be good. I thought we had it. I
love the 89-minute running length. That's perfect.
Yeah.
How many directors would indulge on that and go 20 minutes too long? Searching was like that too. Searching was very lean and compact, economical. There was nothing extra to it. Can we at least all agree, even though I understand Todd's points, I think actually he has pretty valid points, but can we all agree that Aneesh Chaganty is a director to like watch for? Like, he might be an Oscar winner in the next 10 years. I mean, he is a very awesome, accomplished filmmaker who's apparently made a lot of short films, and I don't know, I think he's like bursting on the scene, and I'm excited to see what he comes up with next.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think next 10 years, two big names that you're going to be hearing about a lot are Aneesh Chaganty and like Ari Aster. Like those two, you could see rising kind of at a similar rate.
Aneesh Chaganty, only 29 years old. So he's like our Damien Chazelle, kind of.